Today we're channeling Twiggy in V magazine, hitting the slopes of Vogue Netherlands, and sailing with Vogue China. My name is Marco, welcome to the Model Gene, and if you're ready to dissect this month's covers, hit that like button and let's get started on January's Battle of the Covers. Starting off with Vogue US, we have Amanda Seyfried by Eddie Wrey for a digital cover. Vogue is going to be publishing less frequently this year, so more digital covers are expected. Her hair is beautiful, so is this color on her, but I find it difficult to get past the hands. They look so unnatural here. It is not a moment taken from a fluid gesture, but it looks like awkward posing. The hands aren't as uncomfortable in the rest of the editorial. Here they look more natural, just not on the cover. I'm also struggling with the one green tree in the sea of gold behind her. It is pulling focus unnecessarily. If it was the same color as the rest of the golden vegetation, that would already be better, but it would be best if it wasn't in frame at all. Margot Robbie covers British Vogue. I like many of the elements of this cover. The balusters look like toppled chess pieces and add some interest to the image. The layers of the silky top, the feathers with the large volumes, it is interesting, but this cover would be better if we had her hands visible. This is to Alex Cooper filming Call Her Daddy with the long sleeves, and since the look is so covered up, especially with her hair down, we could have used her hands exposed. It's not the most striking cover, but it delivers on mood. Her expression is very sleepy in most of the images in the editorial, but I like the picture in the rain. The volume and draping here is beautiful, and I like the warmness of her skin against the cool tones of the fabric. Maddie Fall covers Vogue Germany, a nice image, but I've seen this so many times before. Just last year, Vogue France had this cover story with Iman Hammam in June, Anakiai in August. All of these images would fit together as part of the same story. Lack of innovation aside, let's focus on the successes here. This dress is beautiful, fits in well with this rocky terrain, and the orange tones contrast nicely against the blue. The space between her arms and her bodies are echoing the pools of water on the rocks, her braids echoing the dripping beads. I really love Maddie Fall. She is radiant in the editorial as well, and although I love when photography pushes boundaries, these photos are gorgeous and satisfying. Eva Herzegovina covers Icon Italia. She is the newest inductee to my list in 2026. She joins the ranks of models like Garrett Neff and Isabella Rossellini, who used their success as models not to support other models, but to support an alleged serial abuser, Harvey Weinstein with a camera, Bruce Weber. Unlike Harvey Weinstein, whose victims were women in Hollywood, Weber was allegedly assaulting male models, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. The New York Times broke the story during the beginning of the Me Too movement, but everybody in the industry already knew, allegedly, about Bruce Weber's breathing exercises, but they looked the other way because he was photographing campaigns for Ralph Lauren and Calvin Klein. When people say they were unaware of the allegations against him, unaware means they didn't care because it is their friend, and they wanted to maintain the consolidation of power. Eva Herzegovina, I say this with my full chest, 10 toes down, you, your husband, and I pray your sons never experience what these other young men went through at the hands of your dear friend Bruce. Allegedly. I will never understand how these women cannot understand that the reason that their sons are safe is because they are famous, which is why his alleged victims were all brand new models to the industry, sent to him right off the street before they had a chance to talk to any other models to get warned about his reputation. Yes, these cover reviews are usually more about composition and retouching, but when I see this shit, it truly makes me sick. I don't want to see anything from Weber, from Testino, from Alexander Wang. Yeah, I didn't forget about that one either. Allegedly. Brian Szymanski covers Diaries 99 magazine. This cover is very Stephen Klein coded. This one is more Urberitz. Brian has a very recognizable face with that heavy brow bone, and I like when photographers lean into that rather than fight it. He should be lit from above with his eyes in shadow. It is so graphic and special. I don't think we needed the pants being pulled down in this photo. For me, the beauty is all in that high contrast face. Props to the hairstylist. The reflection on his hair is perfect. 2 covers of Young Me for Vogue China, and this one of the boat I really love. Most magazines are afraid of having their cover star so small, but the composition here makes me very happy. Is this the look I would have her in on the sailboat? Absolutely not. But the overall impression is really strong. I like how her legs are posed, the angle of her profile that is repeated by the sail, her arms, the anchor. It is nice to have that pattern repeated. For the other cover, this outfit really ruins the photo for me. Even if she was just wearing jean shorts, it wouldn't be so bad, but this purple and brown are not harmonious with the setting. You have these incredible horses as well. There was so much potential here, but a bad look can ruin a photograph. Taylor Hill covers Vogue Czechoslovakia in a Richard Avedon, Stephanie Seymour inspired image. I mentioned in November that these covers for Vogue Brazil remind me of the spring 1993 Versace campaign by Avedon, and here we have another photographer drawing inspiration. This cover of Taylor, absolutely gorgeous no matter how you dissect it. Erin O'Connor and Amber Valletta spoke about what it was like shooting with Avedon and how he was interested in capturing the moments in between a gesture, and this does that very thing. There's movement across the photo, not just her body, but the fringe of her dress, her hair. The energy is being swirled and pulled around and really makes your eye dance. In the editorial as well, so many beautiful photos of Taylor, you cannot deny the power of that face. If the studio shots are evoking Avedon, the outdoor shots are evoking Peter Lindbergh. And speaking of Amber Valletta, this shot made me immediately think of this photo of her by Lindbergh. I made a video on inspiration versus imitation, and I love how photographers can look at the incredible work of masters who came before them and bring something new with a fresh take. Congrats to Jesus and Taylor on this shoot. I'm sure they are both really proud of what they put out here. Hana Yanata is on 2 covers of Vogue Czechoslovakia, more knockout work from the magazine. Vogue Czechoslovakia is, in my eyes, in the same vein as Vogue Portugal, both magazines very focused on the output of compelling fashion imagery, and almost always better than the big 4 Vogues. In this cover, the wind blowing the fur trim on this coat and her hair gives the impression of cold, even though the golden hour light is very warm. Hana looks chic and edgy, especially in this cover with a polka dot tuxedo. I applaud this magazine for being bold in their decisions, from the casting to shooting on location. Laura Mattarella covers Vogue Italia. A pretty government photo, nothing bad to say about the cover. I just don't care to see it on the cover of Vogue Italia. I don't care when it's American politicians or their wives on American Vogue. I think there are other magazines that are better suited for that, but for an image to accompany a feature in the magazine, it's great. Brett Lloyd has such a specific point of view to me. I can close my eyes and imagine what a picture from him will look like, but this doesn't speak to his point of view. I say that as a compliment, not as an insult. Cindy Crawford covers Vogue Mexico. I'm very bored of seeing her all in jeans, slightly obscured face. I get it, she represents Americana, the 90s, and people want to tap into that nostalgia, but I want to see Cindy wearing actual fashion, modeling like a model. Imagine her in some exquisite Schiaparelli gown in full glam, incredible lighting, on location, narrative. That is something I would find interesting, not putting her over and over again in jeans. Mia Armstrong covers Vogue Netherlands, and I love a snowy location shoot. Poor girl was probably absolutely freezing when they took these photos, despite the warm tones of her skin. I would bet money that her purple-blue hands were retouched to put warmth in them. Her look is interesting. I guess she is bare-assed sitting on the snow. They could have at least put her on a toboggan. There are lots of cute images in the editorial. She looks like she is having fun despite the cold, but I have to say, they really needed to hire more models for this editorial. Yes, she can be the cover star and the focus of the images, but there are so many shots that would have been greatly enhanced by supporting characters, whether they were other models or regular folks. Besides that, yes for a location shoot, yes for an effort in fashion photography. Chloe O covers Vogue Japan, a sleek, minimalist cover and one of the better ones from the magazine in a long time. Everything is really delicate and soft, the pale shade of the eyeshadow, the frothy dress, but that draws your eyes to the black of her hair and her dark eyes. They clearly wanted to highlight the necklaces, so this hair was a great choice for that. In the rest of the editorial, more beautiful images, restrained and elegant. I think they really knocked the ball out of the park with the styling. It's a great selection of looks that are visually interesting, but not redundant. Udeline covers Vogue ESPAñA, so much going for it, but not quite 100% on the execution. Overall, I like the vision, the dress, her pose, how the background is composed, but the one area that feels a bit clunky is around her head. With this lighting, there is not enough differentiation between the collar and the shadows around her neck. I can't tell what is what, and it's a shame because I like it otherwise. In the rest of the editorial, there doesn't seem to be a cohesive narrative with the cover, but I do like some of the images, like this other black and white one. Ángela Molina and Guitarrica de la Fuente cover Harper's Bazaar España, 2 covers each, but I could have easily selected one of each subject. For Ángela, this shot is so fabulous, strong, graphic, very Harper's Bazaar. Her pose makes her look 8 feet tall when she is 5'4", and that is the power of good photography. The other cover is nice, but doesn't have the same punch as the other shot. For Guitarrica de la Fuente, I much prefer the sitting shot. Here we have layers of clothing with different textures, the shine of the leather against the matte cotton gabardine. His gaze here as well, he looks like he is observing you rather than just being observed. In this cover, it is just much more predictable to put a singer in leather pants without a shirt, and I don't like how one hand is just floating above the ground. It's not a bad picture, the lighting and contrast is all nice, I just much prefer the other cover. Rama Duwaji covers The Cut magazine. What a spectacular way to make your debut as the First Lady of New York City. Rama is an artist, illustrator, and ceramicist, so I'm not surprised that she was very particular in what image she was going to portray, but still, this is pretty epic. There's nothing stuffy that harkens of a typical political portrait. She's dripping with coolness in every photo of the story. This is my favorite cover of the month. In the cover specifically, this silhouette is fantastic. Her hands are perfect. This is laser sharp. The photos are immediately recognizable as Szilvester Mako's. She fully gave into his vision and his world. This portrait, she should hang that up on the wall. Mulvihill covers Harper's Bazaar China, and I think the blush was a mistake. Some faces can handle very heavy makeup with this specific application, but I don't think it enhances her features. It is less noticeable in this cover, but in this one, it looks more like bruising or she burnt her cheek with a curling iron rather than high glam makeup. Gabriella Brooks covers Harper's Bazaar Australia. I assumed she was an actress when I saw these photos, but apparently she is a model. And by model, I mean she is dating Liam Hemsworth, so that is why she is on this cover. Her thumb getting cut off behind her is a mistake, and I can't tell if it's poor lipstick application or the lighting, but it is making her bottom lip look uneven. The rest of the editorial features very dark, Sharpie brows, but nothing else memorable. Jenny covers V magazine. Such a different look for her, I didn't even recognize her at first. It's very clear that Twiggy was on the mood board for the shoot, as well as Vidal Sassoon. This picture in particular, I have a feeling that they wanted to do something like this photo of Nancy Kwan by Terry Donovan for British Vogue's October 1963 issue. Mar and Vin have perfectly captured the identity of the magazine, sharp lines, bold, graphic, and Jenny is benefiting from their talent. These photos are simple in the sense that the color palette is restrained and there are not many elements, but it takes a lot of skill to execute a photo with precision when you don't have anything to hide behind. Great job to everyone on the team. The photos are fun and very enjoyable. Jakara Anthony covers Vogue Australia. The reflective goggles are cool, but I wish they were on her head for the cover. I applaud the magazine for featuring a Winter Olympian, but if you were gonna put her on the cover, let's see her. I like the blue contrasting with the warmness of her skin, but it's hard when so much of the photo is being dominated by the goggles. Tecla Insolia covers Di La Repubblica. Her natural beauty is really shining through in this photo. The standout elements in this photo are her hair and her eyes. The sun is lighting them perfectly. They are exuding warmth. We have two covers of Vogue Taiwan by Manbo Key. Both are unexpected and fresh, exploring our relationship with technology. I didn't realize it at first, but this photo is made up of different fragments of images collaged together to create this very in-your-face final result. Amber's cover is a combination of these two images, the silhouettes of the three images and the headphones colliding with this portrait. The blue coat with the oranges of her skin really pops. I love her natural face with just the lipstick. I think both of these covers are really excellent, boundary pushing, provocative, which are not typically adjectives associated with most of the Vogue brand. Taiwan might be small in size, but their creative power is massive. And that's where today's review is going to end. For more about the fashion industry, check out the links below. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the covers this month, and be sure to subscribe to find out who comes out on top next month in the battle of the covers.